Today on The Morning Show, TV's sexiest warrior. Why Outlander star Sam Heughan says his accent wasn't Scottish enough for the show. Fighting for the woman in gold.
Here she is, my aunt, Adela.
Director Simon Curtis on working with a dame, a Canadian heartthrob, and his wife. And why Mariah Carey is doing car karaoke to Mariah Carey.
Welcome to The Morning Show. Canada's Conversation starts now.
That's right. Welcome to The Morning Show. It is Friday. Good morning, everybody. Do not adjust your set, please,
No,
okay?
I am not Chris Reyes.
Yes. So Chris is off, Rosie is off, and Liza, we'll get to that in a sec. She has pink eye, dare I
poor
say.
gal.
So real quick, it's so funny because I mentioned TV's sexiest warrior, and I know everybody laughed because it is kind of funny hearing me say that. But this is why. Take a look outside. Yeah, right. Can you imagine? So this is why a number of people, oh, look at the crowd building.
We love this.
For Sam Heughan, he'll be in studio in just a moment, the star of Outlander, a great show. This pushes some boundaries, let's just say, in a lot of ways. So we'll get to that. But can we show the picture of Liza?
Oh, wow.
And she's, and I do apologize.
We're thinking.
We don't have it, unfortunately. Okay.
Oh.
It's very graphic, but bless her
It's very
heart, she
graphic.
came in briefly, and we were like, nope, you are
Please
single
leave.
tear crying, and not in the
Yes.
good Oscar way.
No, not
Anyway, our heart goes out to you, so get better, everybody. And
some antibiotics. She'll be good as
We'll be
new
back
by
on
Monday.
There you
That's
go.
right. So let's get to something quite serious. Just a short time ago, German officials say they have new information on the co-pilot that crashed a Germanwings plane into the French Alps. It appears he may have hidden evidence of an illness from his employers. Now, new reports suggest that Andreas Lubitz stopped pilot training for 6 months back in 2009 because of what they're calling burnout syndrome or depression. And now, this morning, investigators say they have found torn up sick notes for the day of the crash in his home. These findings are prompting some to question whether a history of mental illness should prevent people from doing certain jobs. What do you think?
And we're finding out that he had 18 months of psychiatric help for a depressive issue previously in his past. Now, keep in mind, they didn't find a suicide note. They found torn up doctor's notes. So it really could have been for anything.
There is no way that we want to. I mean, I would like to think we've made some progress in society about removing some of the shame around mental illness. And the idea of introducing some kind of legislation or some kind of requirement of employment that you haven't suffered from depression, you haven't been on antidepressants, I think is a million steps in the wrong direction. And it's going to mean people don't disclose.
They're going to hide it?
They're going to hide it more.
No, but I feel like it's important to disclose it as long as the place of employment actually is able to help you in terms of putting in the right
and not
framework.
fire you.
Exactly.
But then who's going to dictate whether it's safe
we
enough
see this
for you
with
to...
law enforcement across Canada where there's not enough resources in the workplace to respond to people's mental health.
But maybe this is the next step in this. Maybe the more people disclose, and this is a tough one for anyone who has experienced mental health, knows somebody, it's incredibly challenging, of course, but if more people disclose it, then won't you then allow for the possibility for people to get more treatment? Employers, families will be more open to this idea and more helping.
Or it could prevent them from furthering their career, regardless of whether it's in law enforcement or a pilot. You know, who could have really prevented this? We're talking about the captain sneaking out to use the water closet, not being able to go back in, and possibly this co-pilot just taking advantage of the situation.
Right, so this begs the question, should you have psychiatric evaluations, ongoing ones, for the pilots, especially with that kind of responsibility? But you could draw the comparison with bus drivers.
I was going to say, at what point does
this?
this end? At what point do we say somebody is in charge of a lot of other people's lives? We can see it in all kinds of things. The fact is, we cannot legislate such a rare occurrence. We cannot change how we approach something. I mean, we've all said, you know, one guy went to an airport with a bomb in his shoe, and now for the rest of time, we all have to take our shoes off to get on an airplane. I don't think we need to have a knee-jerk reaction to this that changes how we approach people. It is tragic, it is sad, but the idea that certain people shouldn't have certain jobs because of a challenge with mental illness is very scary
Absolutely,
to
and
me.
of course, people may be feeling a lot safer as they head out into the skies today. Now that they know that there will always be 2 members in
That's right.
in the cabin at all times.
So that is the new rule. All right, let's shift our attention now to another story. A woman is actually being sued for $65,000 by a dog obedience school after she posted a negative
This is
review
ridiculous.
on the company, or of this company, on Yelp. You may know this website. The dog owner says she paid $175 for training, but was unhappy with the service. We've seen these review sites. People post these
I use
positive
them all
and
the
negative
time
views.
for
too.
restaurants,
It's
for
great.
hotels. I mean, it's freedom of speech.
But if you don't
have
like
good service.
do you have the right to?
Absolutely,
No, I think you
of course
totally
you
do.
do.
But what if it's not truthful? What if, I mean, you are responsible for somebody else's business here. It means that the anonymity of the internet allows people to go and say whatever they
But
want.
it's not the New York
Sometimes
Times when you're going on Yelp. You know that it's average Joe Blow or whoever
But you guys
who's
just
writing.
said, I use them all the
But
time.
we use
so
it
there's
with
a
a grain of
responsibility.
salt. We look at
Absolutely.
multiple reviews. We look at multiple. We don't just look at one review that says that's horrible and then we walk away.
And at the end of the day, I do all my shopping online. I use these reviews to buy products, to book hotels, flights, that kind of thing. If you are lying about it, you're going to be drowned out by the hundreds of other raving reviews.
Well, if
I don't
there
think
are,
you have to worry about
and
it.
a lot of companies, we've heard so many stories in the past, haven't we? Of these companies or people that they know, friends, maybe posting positive reviews of the company, maybe tilting the balance a little bit. So, what's one negative review?
think
Does it affect
I
everything?
Well,
approach
it's
them
hurting
all.
this woman.
Yeah, I approach them all with an awful lot of cynicism about, you know, the friends of friends
Yeah.
posting, about the people who are just disgruntled and trolls
But
posting negative stuff.
$65,000 for saying you didn't get a $175 refund when you were upset with the service.
Well, I mean, how much has it affected her business? How much business has she lost because
Well,
of the
it's
negative
continuing
review?
because now everyone's saying, be careful what you say about this woman because she could sue you.
All right, Terry Hart, Liam Vu, Mina Ree, of course, we'll be back after this, and still to come with us, fighting for a piece of the past. How director Simon Curtis brought the amazing true story, this is an incredible story, of The Woman in Gold to the big screen. And up next, saving the woman he loves, we go back in time with Outlander star Sam Heughan. Stay with us.
There's a lot of nervous excitement in the air. Look at these women waving their posters and blowing kisses. Well, the hit showcase series Outlander follows World War II nurse Claire Randall. She's transported back to 1743, where she's forced to marry fiery Scottish warrior Jamie Fraser, played by none other than Sam Heughan. Here is a sneak peek of the return of Outlander, where Jamie races to save Claire from the ruling British redcoats. Take a look.
Jamie! Jamie! Claire. I was minding her, I swear. I went for a piss. Where is she? She must have wandered off. When I caught up, the redcoats had her. She was fighting and thrashing about, but they took her. They were headed south.
Okay, so I know do you ever get used to this, the Gaggle Gals? I know you don't want to be seen as a sex symbol, but it's happening. How do you feel about all this attention?
It's terrific, isn't it? I'm so pleased that we've got these Canadian fans. It's fantastic.
They've been waiting all morning for you.
They have, and it's not warm out there, so they're all wrapped up. And yeah.
But
so
the show itself is great, and the review, one of them says, quote, epic and gruesome. What's your thought to that?
That is one way of describing it. Yeah. There's a lot in the show. There's a lot of adventure. There's the historical side, the romance side. There's time travel. There's sci-fi aspects. So it's really hard to quite describe exactly what the show encompasses.
It's so surreal watching the show because you and the character are like one person to me now. But there was a point when apparently your accent wasn't Scottish enough. Is that true?
Well, a little bit, yes. I mean, I do play it up a little bit in the show. I do a slight Highland accent. Yeah, some of the execs were having trouble understanding what I was saying. But yeah, no, it seems to have gone down really well.
You have a lot to do in the show, from riding horses, wielding swords, romance. I mean, it's a really, really huge arc that your character goes on. Any, fudging of the truth on your CV about what you could do? Did you have to really learn quickly to ride a horse or wield a sword?
Yeah, I think every actor, when they first audition for a job, is like, yeah, I can do that, absolutely fine. And then they turn up on the day and it's like, oh my God, that horse is so big. So, but we had a fantastic stunt crew and we had a lot of time to learn to horse ride and sword fight. And I relish doing those sort of action sequences.
We don't want to leave out the fans.
There are a lot of them.
And I hear there's a question in from one of our audience members.
Ah.
Hi, Jamie. Welcome to Toronto. Oh, Jamie, I called you Jamie! Oh my God, you're Sam! My name's Megan Bree Moriarty, and I started the Facebook page for Outlanders in Ontario a little more than a year ago. We know that we're not a very quiet fandom, nor are we very small. So Lena would like to know, what's your craziest experience with a fan so far?
Wow. Well, hello, Outlanders Ontario. Yeah, I mean, we've had so many fantastic fan support. We have a group of fans that seem to find us wherever we are in Scotland, in the middle of the mountains, by a loch. They turn up, they bring us baked goods and sugary treats. So it's fantastic. I don't know how they quite find us.
Speaking of that, when you talk about one of the best characters, I think, in the show is the landscape of Scotland. I mean, it's stunning. It plays such a big role in terms of really introducing it to the rest of the world. What is your thought? I mean, this is home for you.
Yeah.
But how do you approach that?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, you guys have got pretty amazing landscapes yourself. I've been to the Rockies once and I was impressed. But yeah, Scotland really is another character in this show. And I think when you watch the show, you'll fall in love with the majesty of Scotland. There's amazing locations.
You mentioned some of the time travel in Outlander, but you have a thing about time travel. You like Back to the Future? Or Michael J. Fox and Back.
You're a sci-fi geek.
Wow, yeah, I love Back
What is
to the
this
Future.
fascination?
I don't know. I guess it's something to do about nostalgia, about the films you watch when you're growing up. I love Back to the Future and Indiana Jones.
Look at that. There you are with the DeLorean.
There he is. Yes, I went and saw that at Universal, and
This is a big deal.
yeah, it was amazing. One day.
How many times do you think you've seen the movie?
I mean, it's in the tens of 15s of 20. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, word for word.
It's pretty good.
On my bucket list was to meet a Batman, and you once played Batman on stage
Yes.
before, so thank you. I'm checking that off my list. But prior to the show, you were no stranger to heroics. I mean, I've been hearing that you arrested a criminal. Like, what happened?
That's true. I was actually, we were playing in London. We did the whole of North America and actually did a world tour. Didn't come to Canada, actually. But yeah, I was in a record store and I don't know, this guy kind of ran at me. He was trying to steal DVDs and I got him on the floor and then the security guards came over and I said, could you take him? And they were like, no, man, you keep hold of him. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, it was kind of an odd scenario.
Do you find when it comes to, I mean, the production values on this show are incredible. So many shows continue to push those boundaries when it comes to the sex, the violence. What does it feel for you when you're in a show like that? Do you feel, okay, now people's tastes have changed, or what is it, the acceptance of what is on the screen, and how far is too far kind of thing?
Absolutely. We're very aware, of any of the sort of more intimate scenes or more violent scenes. We don't want it to be gratuitous at all. We want it to further the story and further the relationships. And so we're very, very particular about that. We do work on them a lot. I mean, there are some great shows out there that do have a lot more. But I think, it's all there in the books as well. We're trying to be very...
Diana Gabaldon.
Yeah, she's done some amazing...
An incredible author.
Yeah. So we try to be authentic and stick as close to them as possible.
And the truth is really important to the story too, right? The actual history that went on, as much as it's, kind of has a lot of fantastical aspects to it, there's a root truth to the history.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, apart from the time travel and all those aspects, and most of the characters are fictional. However, Diana has fully researched these books, and we try to be as authentic as possible, from from the costumes to where we shoot to the way the men interact with each other, or so it really is the most sort of historically accurate, I think, representation.
How big of a deal is the show in Scotland, and how proud are people of it?
I think people are really excited. It's the first big production in Scotland. We've built this purpose-built studio. We've got 4 sound stages now. We employ a lot of craftsmen, a lot of people behind the scenes, a lot of crew, and I think they're really excited. It's just premiering very soon in Scotland, and it's really exciting for the whole country.
Well, the show is amazing. Outlander, it returns to showcase. Sam Hewen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks to these people outside.
Yeah.
All right, stay with us. Coming up on The Morning Show, Woman in Gold director Simon Curtis tells us what it was like working with some of Canada's biggest stars. An amazing film. After the break, we'll meet the director. Director Simon Curtis received rave reviews for his film My Week with Marilyn, which garnered 2 Oscar nominations. Well, next week, his new film Woman in Gold hits the theaters. It follows the story of an elderly Jewish survivor of World War II, played by Helen Mirren. She enlists the help of a lawyer and family friend played by Ryan Reynolds. Take a look.
Can't you just help me out a little bit on the side, you know, like a hobby?
There is no on the side here, Marie. This is a full-time job. This is not a hobby.
You are quite rude, you're a little uncouth, and you are completely disinterested in the past.
And you have an unusual talent for making me feel good about myself.
But you have the connection.
And the director, Simon Curtis, joins us in studio. Good morning.
Good morning. Lovely to be here.
Lovely to have you. This movie was so spectacular. I teared up more than once. It was really emotional, and I was incredibly proud seeing Ryan in a very different kind of role. What made him right for this in something that I don't think many people would have thought of him for?
It was fantastic to work with Ryan, who shares with the real Randy, the character he plays, a real intelligence and also a real charm and wit and a sort of self-deprecating quality. I loved working with him, and more importantly, so did Helen Mirren, and they were an incredible double act, you know, both on and off screen, and a lot of the humour for the film comes from their relationship. They're like an odd couple going on this journey, a very important and emotional journey together.
And emotional it was. Helen Mirren was electric.
Yes.
And just looking at the transformation, you see what she looks like in real life, and you see that, and I mean, she never loses. I mean, she just hits it out of the park every single time she is on the screen, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's a phenomenal actress, and I mean, I'd worked with her when I was her T-boy when I was a teenager, some decades ago. But it was a thrill to work with her on this, and you know, she's magnificent in this film, I think.
You know, you also have, we're talking about the cast, of course, Helen Mirren and Ryan Reynolds, and Lady Cora, who we all know from Downton Abbey, but you know in a different way.
Yes, Elizabeth McGovern and I have been married for quite a while, and I'm very proud that she's in this film. She adds a lot. She plays a very important character, a Los Angeles judge, and you know, fans of Downton Abbey who are maybe sad today with the news can come and see her in this film. But we also have another phenomenal Canadian in Tatiana Maslany, who she plays the younger version of Helen's character, and they look amazingly alike, and I think Tatiana is one of the best actresses I've ever worked with.
Well, I mean, she's had such success here, well, around the world, of course, with Orphan Black, and we're thrilled to see her do bigger and better and more complex.
She has some of the most emotional scenes in the whole film, and as I say, she was a joy to work with.
But Simon, talk a little more about the story. I mean, and you articulate this really well in the film. This is about one woman getting back what is rightfully hers.
Correct.
And for so many other individuals, trying to get back what is theirs. I mean, the Nazis conducted the biggest heist of the 20th
Helen's
century.
Character, Maria, we see her, you know, she's an elderly woman living in Los Angeles. Her sister has died, so she becomes the last remaining survivor of that family that was destroyed when the Nazis entered Vienna in 1938. So it's a sort of a campaign she decides to do before it's too late to make amends for the past. And of course, this famous painting, The Woman in Gold, that is by Gustav Klimt, one of the greatest works of art of all time, was in fact a painting her uncle paid Gustav Klimt to paint of her aunt. And then it hung on the wall of the family home. So it was a very personal and emotional connection to this great work of art.
The responsibility for this, not just for this individual woman's story, but this is still going on in the news. This
very
is
much
still
so, yeah.
something.
It's very much alive,
So can you talk about the relevance and the importance of getting the story out there?
Well, I mean, I think I would say that, you know, one of the themes of the film, and Helen's character says, you know, the people forget, especially the young. And I think right now the film has landed at a time where there seems to be an even greater need than there was when we were making it last year to remind people of the sort of the perils of picking on anybody for their race or religion. And so anti-Semitism is rising its head all over the world, unfortunately. And this film is a timely reminder of some of the terrible things that happened in the last century. And it brings it's set in the past, but also it's set in the present. So it's saying to people, you know, don't forget, learn the lessons from the last century.
Now, you referred to the stolen possessions and the art as the last prisoners of war. I think that's the perfect description. You know, going forward, talk about the fight that so many people still have trying to get this. And when you talk about the statute of limitations, I mean, this is pretty amazing. Not just this art, but so many other things.
Yeah, but I say there's something about the personal connection for Maria to the painting. Lots of people there are lots of different stories and lots of different battles are going on. And in fact, Randy, the lawyer that Ryan plays, now his job is, he's a lawyer specializing in restitution cases.
We only have a second, but you actually recreated the painting.
Yes. Very hard to do.
I imagine.
It took Klimt 3 years, and it took us nearly as long.
But it looks almost, it's like a dead ringer.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important.
It's amazing. The director of Woman in Gold, Simon Curtis, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
All right, stay with us. Coming up on The Morning Show, taking a ride with Mariah. Could you imagine how the pop star ended up doing car karaoke? This is on late night television. That after the break.
Welcome back to the morning show. Okay, it's Friday. Happy Friday. But you know what? I don't know. There's something missing about my day. Oh, I know. Mariah Carey singing along to Mariah Carey.
All right, one.
Give me some sugar.
Treated me kind. Sweet destiny. Carried me through desperation.
Carey was hitching a ride to the Late Late Show with the new host, James Corden, and they did some carpool karaoke together, but Corden seemed more into it than Carey. Oh, man. I mean, I feel like that's her career right now. I feel like that's her career. She's like, everyone's more into her classics than she is.
It's the ultimate ride. Are you kidding? I don't know what's better, her voice or his singing, his car dancing?
Yeah.
What is your car karaoke choice?
Oh, I sing everything. I belt out. And when people look at me, I just go,
Yeah.
and keep going.
I feel like Mariah Carey orders her latte like this.
Yeah.
I feel like
The
she
ultimate
orders
diva.
her.
I gotta say, my song is probably Sia, Chandelier.
Oh, I love that song.
Chandelier.
Wow.
So good.
I always think of Jerry Maguire in the scene when he's singing "Free Falling Down the Road." It's like that very, it's that
Like,
You
epiphany,
can't
that
go wrong with
moment.
a Tom Petty.
You can't go wrong with Tom Petty.
Well, apparently she didn't even want to do it. She said she wasn't going to join in, but as soon as he
you
started hitting the
surprised?
high notes, she just diva'd out.
Well, probably because she's like, I get to chill and relax. Because
Yeah.
she's like, I'm not a circus animal. I'm
And
not
he's
gonna
not
sing.
taking my song over. There is no way James Corden is taking over Mariah Carey's song.
How is her voice these days? Is it because last album is not what it was expected to be?
Spotty.
Spotty.
Yeah. She sounded
I just say she needs like a Vegas residency, and then she'll be set.
Yeah, and maybe she needs to do a little hot water and lemon a bit more
You
frequently.
guys are hating. I thought she sounded fantastic.
Well, I tell you what, Terry Hart, thank you so much for coming in
Thank
today,
you.
and Liam and Mina for chipping in and keeping this together with duct tape.
Get better, Liza Fromer.
Yeah, Liza, hopefully we'll be back on Monday. And of course, Monday's going to be an interesting show as well. Cheryl Hickey will be here, and also Sam Pin from Open House Overhaul and HGTV Canada. They continue to hit home runs with this. All right, thank you so much for joining us, and hope you guys have a great weekend, and you at home.